about.
Yeah, okay. Let me share my screen. Hi, good morning everyone. We are back with another Impact Salesforce Saturday session. Today we have Aman Tiwari with us. And the session is on Introduction to Flow and its types. Aman Tiwari is a 3x Salesforce certified and working as a Salesforce developer at LTI. He is also a blogger at Panther Schools. Hi, this is Praveen Goli. I am a Salesforce certified admin and developer and working at TCS, and also one of the star volunteer of New Delhi Salesforce Developer Group. These are the social media handles and hashtags of Impact Salesforce Saturday session. You can also join New Delhi Salesforce Developer Group in Trailblazer community so that you can get updates about the upcoming sessions. And you can also follow our website so that you can get daily updates. Impact Salesforce Saturday session. This is our virtual session organized by New Delhi Salesforce Developer Group. As I said before, you can find the past and upcoming sessions in New Delhi Salesforce Developer Group website. And also you can register from our official website so that you can get daily updates. This is new. Recently, New Delhi Salesforce Developer Group started new initiative. Let's implement. They are connecting the mentors and mentees along with the mentorship. There you will also get hands-on experience which will be guided under the mentors. Journey to Salesforce is an initiative taken up by Salesforce Developer Indian Relationships. These are the New Delhi Salesforce Developer Group media handles. You can follow the official channel and get updates every day. Thanks to our sponsor Cloud Vandana. Thanks to our sponsor for the Salesforce Hunt. Thanks to our sponsor Cloud Vandana. Once again, Once again, thanks to Salesforce Hunt for sponsoring today's session. Salesforce Hunt is a YouTube channel managed by one of the active Salesforce community members, Rohit Kumar. Here he shares different Salesforce scenarios and Salesforce updates. Go and check out this latest Udemy course, Mastering US Code 2022 with Salesforce. Thank you guys for joining today's session. I hope you all will have great session and thank you. Over to Aman.
You are on mute, Aman.
Sorry. Thanks for the introduction, Praveen. Last time I got introduced in such a good manner was someone else married. So sorry for that lame joke. So, okay, just confirm. Can you see my screen? I've turned my video on off, so don't want
we can.
distractions.
We can see.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. So let's start. Praveen, you have started the recording, right?
Yeah, I have started the recording.
Okay. First of all, thank you everyone for coming to the session. It's a weekend and then too you made up a time and came out for the session. So thanks a lot to all the trailblazers who are there for this session. So as you all know, the agenda of this session is this session and the series of this session is to tell you about flows. So we will be understanding different things that are there in flows, but before we proceed ahead to that part, let me tell you what are the things that we will be covering into the learning series of flow in the upcoming session. So today's session will be about overview of flow, where I'll be telling you what Salesforce flow is all about, what are the different types of flow that are available and all that things. Next week we will have a record trigger flow session. So this session will be including both theoretical as well as the practical implementation. About this, I will be also giving you some assignments to complete. After that, on 8th October, that is the third Saturday, it will be the session on screen flows, which will be again both theoretical and practical implementation, including the assignments. And the last session, which will be on 15th October, will be Winter 23 updates. So recently, the updates that has been brought into Salesforce Flow will be introduce to you with the theoretical as well as the practical implementation. So with that said, let's move ahead for today's agenda. So let's see what I'll be covering today. Today I'll be covering on introduction of flow again. Sorry for repeating the same thing again. So yeah, other than that, I'll be discovering the flow types, that are the different flow types that are available. Again, then we will move ahead to the flow builder, like understanding what is flow builder, how we need to explore that part and all that things. With that said, we will move to the next part, that is flow elements. What are the flow elements? When to use that flow elements? Okay, and the last session will be Q&A. Sorry, the last part of the session will be Q&A, where you will ask any questions if you had. Let me tell you in the first beginning of the session itself that the session will be totally theoretical. The first session that we are going to see today will be theoretical because I want to make your concepts clear. And then from the next session onwards till the last session, it will be both theoretical as well as the practical implementation. Okay, so with that said, let's deep dive and understand what is Salesforce flow. Okay, so Praveen, are you given the permission to the participants to unmute themselves?
Yeah, they can unmute themselves.
Okay, thank you. So any idea, anyone, what is Salesforce flow? Okay.
Flow is an automation tool,
Mm-hmm.
and we can
Automating
replace
setup.
some part of coding. We can replace through this, such as a trigger, some part of trigger and some part of a Apex class. We can do this kind of a work with the flow, and there are 5 types of a flow, and flow is a advanced
Okay.
version of a process builder
it.
and workflow.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I wanted that part when you said about it is somewhat part it will replace the Apex. Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
right or close answer. Thank
Yeah.
you for that. So
Thank you.
now, as we know, so what is Salesforce flow? So Salesforce flow is nothing but an automation tool which will help you to achieve the complex business problems and automate that problems using no code. Okay, so when I say no code, that means you are going to achieve a business requirement that has been given by your stakeholders without writing even single line of code. With that said, it's a powerful tool which is going to going to bridge a lot of gaps between your admin and developers. So before the Salesforce flow, there was already the automation tool that someone said, like that is already their workflow rule process builder. But why flow has gained so much importance? It's because there are a lot of things that which you used to do using Apex class or Lightning Web Components, or you say coding part, you can achieve this using Salesforce flow. So this tool is not only helping you to automate the business process, but at the same time it is also giving an equal opportunity to all the Salesforce admins out there to upskill their career and their knowledge. There are lots of use cases, so it might be possible that all the things won't be covered up in the sessions. When I say all the things, I'm telling you about all the use cases, because still flow is upgrading itself, still Salesforce is upgrading the flow, and at the same time we are also upgrading ourselves with the flow. So it's possible that I might miss some of the part. Suggestions and feedbacks are always welcome. You can tell me if I'm missing something, if I'm not explain that thing, I'll definitely try to implement in the upcoming sessions. And the most important thing, so flow is not that it has been introduced now, it has been there from a very long time. So previously this Salesforce flow was known as visual flow. Now why it becomes so important for us to learn flow? Because if you see, I mean, most of the people who are working on the sandboxes, winter 23 updates has already been there in their sandboxes, but still who don't know there are plans by Salesforce to retire workflow rules and process builder. So if you see this retirement timeline, this is the estimated timelines from winter 23, that is from October 22 onwards, you won't be able to create workflow rules. if you see now in your developer org, that means the free org which is given by Salesforce, you are able to create workflow rules. But going ahead, you won't be able to create workflow rules once the Winter 23 update has been bought to your free developer org as well as the sandbox. By February 23, they are planning to migrate everything from process builder or workflow rules to flows. And by the last estimated 2025, you won't be able to see any workflow rules and any process builder. That means what? It means that you won't be able even to create workflow rules and process builder. Also, the support which has been provided by Salesforce. Okay. Now, if you are migrating your workflow rule or process builder to Salesforce Flow, there might be problem, like you won't be able, we will be facing any problem from Salesforce. So Salesforce team will be provide you support to that particular workflow rules and process builder till 2025. After that, there won't be any support to workflow rule and process builder. So now this is the right time for you to start learning flows. With that said, let's understand what is it all about Salesforce Flow. So as anyone said, Flow is an automation tool. Now, what are the different types that are available in Flow? So a flow or a flow version types determines which elements and resources are supported and the ways the flows can be distributed. Now you might be thinking, what is this element and resources? Okay, so you don't need to worry. I'll be covering up all that things. Before I go deep into this, let me make one thing clear, that I will be going from a very basic level. So I consider that all the people who are there in the session doesn't know anything about flow. So if anyone already know flows, be a revision for you. And if someone doesn't know anything about flow, it's just keep listening and you will be able to understand each and everything that I'm talking about. Okay. So now there are 5 different types of flows that are available in Salesforce. So the first one is screen flow. The second one is record trigger flow. The third one is platform event trigger flow. Fourth one is auto launch flow. And the last one is schedule trigger flow. So this is the screen that you will see when you start.
Aman, your screen is stuck.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Can you tell me what you can see now?
Flow elements overview, heading important flow terminology variable only.
Oh, I'm very sorry for that. Can you see now?
Yeah, now.
I'm very sorry.
No, it's not.
For that. Okay, so flow versions type, as I was telling you, what are the different types of flow? It determines what are the elements and resources that are supported for that particular type of flow, and why and how the ways the flow can be distributed. Now, if you see, as I told you, there are 5 different types of flow. The first one is screen flow. Second one is record trigger flow. Third one is platform event trigger flow. Fourth is auto launch flow. And the fifth one is schedule trigger flow. So when you go to your setup and you click on flows, this is the first screen that you will see. It will ask you to select one of the flows from the 5 different types of flows that are available. Okay. Now we understood what are the 5 different types of flow. Now we will see each and every part's definition. So what is record trigger flow? Record trigger flow is nothing but it is a flow that will execute an action when a record is modified or created. Okay. In short term, you can understand that this is the replacement of your workflow rule and process builder. Okay, so whatever workflow rule or process builder that you have already created, most of that will migrate to record trigger flow. With that said, let's have an example to understand. Okay, now there is a requirement, like if my opportunity amount is more than 7,000, then send an email, or I want to notify my manager. I want to send a notification to my manager. So that particular things can be achieved through record trigger flow. Now the next thing that we see here is screen flow. What is screen flow? So in a very simple term, it is nothing but user interface where you will allow users to interact with them. Sorry, you will get an interaction with users, and like, in the basic terms, what we can say is like, suppose you are creating your developer account, like you are registering yourself for the free developer org. So you fill out some details, right? And at the end you get a message that your org is about to get created, please check your mail. So that particular thing or that particular part that has been developed can be implemented using ScreenFlow. Where it can be used on Experience Cloud website. So recently you can use it on your Slack as well, or many other places, like, you're on record page, you're on home page, all other places you can use it as a ScreenFlow. Let's move on to the next type of flow, which is very important. And this is, you can say that this is the flow which is the advanced part of your developer background. So if there are any developers here, I know most of you are developers, so even if you're not, so this is for that platform event trigger flow. So there is a concept called platform event in Apex. Okay, so this has been developed, this type of flow has been developed on that particular platform event. If you don't know, or if you're not able to understand what is platform event flow or platform event trigger flow, I'll give you an example. So most of the time what happen is, I'll take an example, a very basic example, because big billion days are going on Flipkart. We'll take an example of Flipkart. So what happens is, you see a product, then you click on add to cart, and after that you click on buy now, right? So when you click on buy now, what happens is a payment gateway comes into picture. You get an option to go for UPI, you get an option to go for the card transactions, you get an option to go for net banking. Now suppose you select UPI, okay, then they allow you to go through the user that UPI interface. Now how is this happening? It's happening through platform event trigger flow. You being there on Flipkart, and then it is redirecting you to some another UI or some another platform. Okay, then what you do, you make the payment. Once you make the payment, they send a confirmation back to your Flipkart, and then Flipkart verifies that payment, and then your order is placed. So how is this happening? I'm not saying that this can be totally be implemented by platform event trigger flow, but similar kind of thing can be achieved through platform event trigger flow. You can develop similar kind of Flipkart or e-commerce website using Salesforce, and you can use that payment gateway, maybe UPI or any kind of payment gateway that you want to use. You can do it through platform event trigger flow. With that said, let's move on to the second last type of flow, that is scheduled trigger flow. So this is very easy to understand. So it is a flow that start at a specific time and will run on batch of records. The best example is, there are users who are using your application, okay, and you want to send out a happy birthday message. So you get a lot of time, right? Bank is sending you a happy birthday message. It's not that it is that you are a valuable customer, but other than that, there is no one sitting at the back saying, oh, it's birthday of Harshit, let's go and wish him. No, that's not the true thing. What they do, they use scheduled trigger flow, or they use something similar to this. So they already define the logic, okay, and they make it to trigger at a particular day at a particular time. Okay, so that happens through scheduled trigger flow. The last one, and little confusing to understand, is auto launch flow. So this is the first type of flow that was introduced by Salesforce. Before this record trigger and screen flow and all that types of flow that came into picture, the first thing that was bought by Salesforce was auto launch flow. Okay, so it is a flow that used to be triggered by process builder. It runs in the background and execute actions on record. So what is the best example of this? I have created a process builder which triggers whenever a new opportunity is created. It states gets changed to qualification. Okay. Now the thing is, whenever the stage is at qualification, I want to send an email, and at the same time, I want a task to get created. Okay. Now, what I will do, the two things that I said, an email creation and an email should be sent and a task should get created. I will create an auto launch flow. The major difference between your record trigger flow and auto launch flow is that in record trigger flow, you give a triggering condition. When I say triggering condition, you tell them that this particular flow should start triggering at this particular condition. But in auto launch flow, there is no such thing. You will create an auto launch flow and you can call it inside another flow or inside a process builder as and when needed. Okay. If you are a developer, you will be able to understand in a better way. Let's take an example of your Apex class. So what happens is you create an Apex class, or you create, let's take an example of Apex trigger. You create an Apex trigger and you create a handler class for that. Okay. Why you create a handler class? Maybe in Apex, Apex trigger, or in any other in Auro component also you create a handler class. You know why we create that? We create that because it might be possible that logic that we have written inside that particular trigger handler may be used in some another trigger class in another Apex trigger as well. Okay, that means that same logic, instead of writing again and again, I will create a handler class and I will write that logic inside that, and I can call it in any other trigger wherever I want to use. So the same way auto launch flow works. You will create some actions, okay, that can be used into some another flow or into some another process builder as and when needed. Okay, so with that said, this is the 5 different types of flow, and this is how that different types of flow will get triggered based on the logic that you write. So before I proceed ahead, is there any question from anyone?
Yes, can you
Hello.
please repeat the auto launch flow again?
Okay, so auto launch flow is like, you know, it's like, what do you say? You will write all the actions that you want to perform inside that auto launch flow, as it's mentioned here, no trigger. Okay, that means there is no triggering condition. You will write all the actions in that, and as I said, I have written a process builder where whenever the qualification stage changes, I want whenever an opportunity is created, I want its stage to be qualification. Okay. Now going ahead, the requirement changes and they said that I want to send an email and I want to create a task. So all that things you can write in auto launch flow and you can use it inside that process builder. So the basic use of auto launch flow is like you can write all the actions and you can reuse it as and when needed in another flows or another process builder.
Okay.
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 Fine. So
Aman.
any questions ahead, or shall I move?
Aman, can you listen to me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, Lakshmi, we can hear you.
Yeah, thanks. Actually, I have one question. If we need to, platform event, build any scenario for platform event based flow, can we do that in the Trailhead org, or playground?
That's a good question. So currently there is not much, what do you say? There is no much modules or a Trailhead that has been for platform event flow. But still, if you want to practice, we can go out and check, there is a YouTube channel by SFDC Panther or ApexRs. There are already, they have used these scenarios. So you can check out from there, but there is no such thing that has been there in Trailhead. For now, I have not seen, but maybe in future they might implement it. Bring
Sure,
it.
thanks. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Hello, Aman.
Yeah.
Yeah, just one question. Like, can we call auto launched flow from Apex as well? Because in the screenshot, I can see that it can be invoked.
Yes, you can call it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So to all the others, if you have any questions and you're not able to ask it when I'm explaining, you can put it in the chat and I will take the questions. Okay. With that said, let's move ahead. Navigate flow builder. Now, what is this flow builder? Okay. So flow builder is nothing but a place where you can start creating your flows. So how does it look like? I'll go ahead into my org and I will show you. So this is called as flow builder. All you need to do is you need to come to your setup. In the quick find, you need to type flow, and this is the particular screen that will pop up. So in flow builder, you have three different parts. The first part that you see here is called flow trigger explorer. So the flow trigger explorer is nothing but, suppose you are writing a flow for a particular object. Okay, you have written 2-3 flows for a particular object. So what you can do is you can go to flow trigger explorer and you can see all the flows that has been created for that particular object. So as I clicked on flow trigger explorer, it brought me to this page, and if you see here, I can select an object. So if I select an object called account, okay, so it will show me all the flows that has been created. So there is fast field updates, action and related, because this you don't need to worry. I'll again explain you in upcoming session. So if you see here, there is an flow which has been created for account object. Okay, so you can see that flow. Also, if there are 2-3 flows that are available, you can sort their orders, like which flow you want to execute first and then the next one. Okay, so if you see in your workflow rule or uniprocess builder, there is not much guarantee of the flow execution, which flow will execute it first and which will get executed. So there are some problems that happen, but in your flow, it's not there. You can control that. Okay. Other than that, if there are 2-3 flows which has been created, okay, and if you want to know which one is the active version, so if you can see here the flow which is active, and if you go here, you can click on flow details and version. So it will show you all the details, like when it was created and for which action it is have, like what is the triggering condition, okay, and how many versions are there, and out of that which one is active. So yeah, this is the flow trigger explorer. If you click on new flow, it will bring you onto the main part of the flow builder page. So here you can see that is the 5 different types of flows that are, as I told you, are available. And other than this page that you see here, it will show you what are the different types of flow that are being active and which is not active. So if you see here, this account creation, account contact creation, this is a record triggered flow that I have created, but there is nothing called, if you see here, there is no, they have not written record trigger flow. Okay, why? As I told you, the first thing that they bought was auto launch flow, and then record trigger flow was extracted as a sub part of auto launch flow. Still that has been there, they still name it process type, they name it as auto launch flow. Since it is a record trigger flow itself, but then too it's an part of auto launch flow. So auto launch flow, as I told you, there is no triggering condition, but record trigger flow, it's a sub part of auto launch flow where there is a triggering condition. Okay, don't confuse yourself with all this what do you say, definition that I'm talking about. Just keep simple thing in your mind. When you come to flow builder, when you select a particular, when you are about to select a particular type of flow, you just remember these 5 different types of flow. Okay, now, so a flow builder is made up of 3 parts. The first one is elements, the second one is connectors, and the third one is resources. Okay, so to tell you about what are those things, I have created a small flow. This is a big one. This is a small flow I have created. So this is a flow, and first I will tell you what is connectors. Okay, so this particular area where you drag, where you build your flow is called canvas. In that, the plus sign that you see is called as connectors. So what they help us to do, it helps us to connect all the elements that are there. Okay, So what is the use of connectors? It's nothing but to connect the flows. A small request to all of there. Whenever I'm explaining, just keep yourself on mute. I'll give ample amount of time for you to ask questions. Okay, thank you. So I hope you understood what is connectors. Now, before I tell you about different elements or what is the element that is there in flow, let me tell you what are the different areas that are available in Flow. So this particular part is called as button bar. Okay, the first button that you see here is called select elements. So if you click on this, it will allow you to select all the elements that are there. So here I have only one element, and you can select this element, and you can see here you're getting an option to copy. So you can copy, and if you click on this connector, they will give you an option to paste the copied elements. Okay, so if you've copied this element, you can click here and you can paste that. Same element will be here. Okay, at the same time, you can delete the element as well if you don't want. Now, there is an option, there is another button called undo, and this is called undo, like to roll back the changes that you have done. Redo means if you roll back the changes and still if you want it, you can do it using redo option. This particular button that you see here, it is called version properties. So if you have created a flow and you want to make any changes to the flow label, so you can do it here. In the advanced part, there are other things. So we will see, or we'll explore this part at the end of the series, and the last day of the session I will explain you more about this particular option that is available. Next thing that you see here is called the way you want to see your flow. So the first one is called auto layout, and the second one is called freeform. Most of the time I will suggest you to use the freeform because you can see all the different types of elements that are available. Okay, still if you don't want, you can use the auto layout. So in auto layout, you need to click on this connectors and you can see all the different elements that are available. Okay, and in freeform, the good thing is you can't see all the elements here, but you can see all the elements that are available here, and as and when you need, you can just drag and drop it here. Okay, next thing is run and debug. So run will mostly work for your screen flow. It won't work for the record trigger flow. And why it won't work, we will see when we are learning about record trigger flow. Debug is like before you activate your flow. Okay, if you want to test it whether it's working properly or not, you can use this debug flow option. We will see this when we are seeing the practical implementation in our next session. View test. So this is just write the test classes that you write, okay, in your Apex classes. It's very much similar to that. Still, it's in a beta version, so I won't be covering that. If you have already activated any flow and you want to deactivate it, you can do it using deactivate button. Save as. This is very much similar to the process builder option that we used to have when we were saving. So when you click on save as, you can save it as a new version, or you want to click on a new flow, so the entire flow will get copied and you can give it a different name. So that's the option of save as. So this is called button bar, and this particular part is called as toolbox. Okay, so what is toolbox? So toolbox will contain all the elements, and in the manager it will contain all the resources that you have created. Okay, so if you want to use any of the elements or the resources that are available, you can use it, or you can see it through your toolbox. This particular area where you create a flow is called canvas. Okay, so any doubts till now? Okay, so there is a silence, so I should take it as no, or am I, all the participants has gone for a
No, it's no.
okay, thanks. So now we will go ahead and understand what are the different flow elements that are available. Okay, so before I tell you about what are the different types of elements, we'll understand what is element. So element is nothing but elements are like the tools in your toolkit that help you to represent an action that the flow can execute. So if you want to know what my screen flow or a record trigger flow can execute, okay, that you can understand or guess it through the elements that are available. Okay. So as I told you, it's a tool that help you to represent an action that flow can execute. Now, with that said, so there are three different types of elements, or you can say that elements are grouped into three main categories. The first one is interaction. The second one is logic. And the third one is data. Okay. Now, what is interaction element? So interaction element help you to make user interacted with your form where you are using this flow. Okay, so if you see here, there are three different groups. First one is interaction, second one is logic, and the third one is data. So interaction element, in the interaction element, so if you see here, this is the screen flow, and you might be thinking how you knew that it's a screen flow. The first thing in the interaction element, screen element will be available only for screen flow. If you see here, there is no element called screen element available in this particular flow. The second way to understand whether it's a screen flow or any other kind of flow is there will always be something called a start, and there it will be mentioned screen flow. In the record trigger flow, you will get an option to mention a triggering condition, but in screen flow you won't get it. Okay. Now the next thing is action. So we all know what is action. So action means if you want to send an email alert. So there are a lot of actions all available. If you want to send an email alert, if you want to post to a chatter, all that things can be done using action. The third one is subflow. So what is subflow? Calling a flow within a flow. The best example, you can call an auto launch flow within this flow or any other flow that you have created and you feel that it will be perfectly matching with this. You can call it using subflow. This is the theoretical information about the things that I explained you. So screen, it collects information. Action helps you to perform an action in subflow. You can launch another flow inside this flow using subflow option. The second and the most important type of element is logic element. So what is logic element? So logic element, as the name suggests, is the type or it's a group of elements which help you to implement your business logic. The requirements that has been given by your stakeholders to implement the logical part of it, you will use this particular group of elements. The first one is assignment. Okay. So what is assignment? It helps to set variable values. Okay. Let us take an example. I want that employee name should be Raghav. How can I do this? I can do this using assignment element that is available. Okay. Don't worry. I'm just telling the theoretical part. When we are again going ahead into the upcoming sessions, I will show the practical implementation about it. Okay. Decision element, this is very much, or you can say this is the alternative of your switch case or if else conditional rendering, or you can say the condition part, right? If you see in your Apex or in your LWC also, so there is something called if else block, right? The same thing is available here. If this condition is meeting, execute this particular logic, or else the default outcome. So else is the default outcome is the else part. So decision element is nothing but your if else condition that you use in your coding. Loop. Do I need to explain about loop? Okay, no problem. I'll tell you. So loop is nothing but your for loop that is available. Okay. In your engineering days, people who are coming from the engineering background, you might have written for integer I is equal to 0, I is less than or equal to 1, I plus plus, right? So that is your for loop that you use in your engineering days. Now there are some different ways we use in Apex class. So the same thing we can do it in our flows as well. Collection sort. So if you have any collections, what is collection and all that, again I'll tell you in next 5 minutes. So if you have any collections, okay, I'll explain you the collection and then I'll explain you these two elements that are available: collection sort and collection filters. Let's move ahead to the next group of elements. This is the most, the most important part that we are going to use in our flow. So data, as I said, is nothing but the group of elements that will help you to manipulate your data, like creating, updating, deleting the records, all that things that you can do it. So the first one is create records. So people who are coming from the developer background, there is something called insert operation, right? That the same thing is available here as a create record. Or you can say that these are the DML operations that are available. Update records, the same thing that is available in DML as update. Get records is what is your SQL query, right? You want to query, like I'll say, give me the names of candidates who enrolled in September. So what you will do, select ID, name from something, some object, and you will do it using developing, using Apex, right? The same thing you can do it using get record that is available in Flow. Delete records is the same thing. DML operation delete, if you want to delete any records. The last one is rollback records. So rollback records is like if any transaction is pending, if any records have not has not updated or not have been done in a proper way, you can roll back that records into its previous into its previous stage. So that you can do it using rollback records. So any doubt in understanding element and what are the different groups of elements that are available other than this collection sort and collection filter? So if there is a pin drop silence, I will take.
No, there is no doubts.
No.
Okay, so if there is a print of silence, I'll take it as no, or rather I'll take it that people are sleeping.
No, we are in active stage.
Take it as a no.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay.
So with that said, let's move on to the very important flow terminology called variable. Okay, now what is variable?
Aman, sorry. I did not understand how to implement the loop part in Flow.
No problem. So when we will see the practical implementation, okay, then I will tell you about how to use loops and when to use loops. So you don't need to worry about that. We have all that things when we are going to see the practical implementation. It's just a theoretical in this part where you will understand what are the different things are available.
Okay. And collection also we will be using, is it?
Definitely.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So if you see, I have explained you connectors, I have explained you elements, and still I have not explained you resources. The main reason is, first we will understand the variable, then we will understand collection, and then we will understand resources. Okay. So what is variable? A variable is a placeholder that is used when a value can change based on certain conditions. So to all the people out there, I hope you might in some part of your life, in some phase of your life, you have given an aptitude exam, right? Basically, when we try to switch to an MNC, how many of you have given aptitude exam? At least I have given something around 15 aptitude exam before coming to this MNC. Okay, so we have an aptitude exam, right? And in that aptitude exam, you might have come across a question related to age, like Aman's age is so and so years, and his father's age 5 years back was so and so. So we solve that particular kind of questions using X and Y, right? So what are those X and Y? Or let's take a very basic example. You have been seen algebra in your school days, right? Hello.
Yes.
People out there. Okay.
Yes,
So yes, in algebra we used to say a number, there is a number and then other number is greater than the first number by 5. So what we used to do, we used to let the number be x, let the other number be x plus 5, right? So you used to use that variables. Okay, I'm trying to connect that particular things that you learned in your school to this variable. Okay, so whenever we don't know anything, the value of that particular thing, we assign a variable to it. Okay, when I say that so and so people are going to come, Aman, Raghav, XYZ person. So if you don't know anyone by name, you call them as person. So person is a variable allocated to them. In the same way, we have that variable in our flow terminology. So what is variable? As I told you, it is a placeholder. It acts as a container which holds a piece of information. Okay, and its value will change. The value within the container will change. And a variable must be of specific type and it should have a name and value. So let's take an example. This is a container, okay, or this is container and it is having an astro inside this. So it's a, I know this is a Salesforce character that is have been there. Okay, so I give this variable name is equal to box1. Okay, this is a variable and variable type is equal to Salesforce character. Now, why I am telling you that variable type is very important is when I say variable type is Salesforce character, that means inside this box, I can only place Salesforce character. I can't place Marvel characters which are there. Okay, I can only place Salesforce character, and I've given this variable value which is there as Astro. I'll take another example. So this is variable name is equal to box2 and variable type is equal to Salesforce character. And variable value is equal to API. Still, if it is not clear, you can start thinking in developer way or as an admin also. Let's take an example. You have created an object. Okay. Now, what is the next thing that you do? You create fields. Now, when you create fields, what you do? You select the data type of field, right? When I say I want that employee should enter their salary. So which field you will use? Currency, right?
Yeah.
And inside that currency field, you won't be able to enter text characters. Okay. How is it that possible? Because at the backend, what Salesforce is doing, when you select the data type as variable, the data type as currency at the backend, Salesforce is allocating you a container with variable type is equal to currency or variable type is equal to number where you can't enter text. Okay. And when you enter a value, enter so and so amount that you are earning as an employer, that comes as a value. Is it clear?
Yeah, we clear it. Means we are giving the data
Yes.
type there.
Kind of, you can say that we are giving a
Yeah.
data type. Yeah.
Data type.
So yeah,
If it is email, we are giving the text. If it is the number, we have to give the number value.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people are developers here. Until unless I take an example of developer, you're not able to connect, huh?
No, we got the idea.
Okay, fine, thanks. The next important terminology is collection. So what is collection? So collection is nothing but a type of variable that can store multiple items, okay, but of the same variable type. Okay, if you see here, I have written a collection variable store multiple values of the same data type or records of the same object in an order list. Okay, now the best example is like when you are saving account, like okay, I'll take this example later when I go more in depth. So this is a collection of variable type Salesforce characters. So you're not going to place your Marvel characters inside this. You can't place, even if you try to place it, it won't take it. Okay, so what is your collection name? I've given the collection name as big box, and variable type I've given it as Salesforce character so that it can only allow Salesforce character to come into this collection. And I've given the variable value as Astro, Cloudicity, all these people who are there, all these characters that are there, their names are there. Another example, I have created a collection of variable type records. So when I say records, I have mentioned an object called contact. So it can store only contact values of contact object.
Contacts. Yeah.
Okay, if you see here, Amit Shah, Narendra Modi, YSR, all that things. Okay. How can we see the practical part? So again, I wanted to show in the next section, but again, I'll show you here. So if you see here, we'll click on new resources. As I told you, right? Variable and collections are nothing but a part inside the resources. So if you see, I went to manager and I click on new resource. And if I select resource type as variable, okay, I will keep it as a name, anything test. And if you see here, data type, the same thing that we see when we create fields.
Yeah.
Okay. So data type, and if I select text, so it will allow me to store only text data, text variable. Okay, text on records. If I select number, it will allow me to store records only of the type number. If I select record, and this is very important, okay, all this you have seen when you are creating fields, except record and apex define. So what is record? When you select the data type as record, the best thing that Flow has introduced is you can select an object. So if I select object as contact, okay, it will allow me to store all the records of contact object.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I told you something about collection. So if you see here, this is called collection. So if you want to store more than one records, in developer terms, we use collection, list, set, map, right? Why we use it? We want to store more than one records, bulk records. So bulkify your things. Then we use collection. The same way, if you click on this checkbox, it will allow you to store multiple records. Okay, available for input and available for output. Don't worry, we'll see you in the upcoming sessions. Now, is it clear for you to understand what is variable, what is collection, what is resources?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some knowledge on it.
Yes, fine. Okay, so with that said, I think, yes, we are done with today's session. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can ask me, or we are good to go ahead for the next Q&A part, which we have already covered, and then Kahoot quiz.
Aman,
Aman.
Okay, one person at a time.
yeah. So you said another thing there, apex defined variables,
Exactly.
right?
I know. I didn't use that. There is a reason. Okay, if I tell you about apex defined now, it will be very confusing. Have patience.
Okay.
I'll teach this new resource part again in the next session. Okay.
Okay.
So I've not covered everything in this resources. There are a lot of things still need to cover.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was my question.
Okay.
A record data type means in developer terminology like S object, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyone else? Any question?
No questions. Any questions?
Anything you felt that I didn't cover in theoretical part? You want me to cover it again now, or anything else?
Aman, one more thing. You said that flow consists of three parts, right? Elements, connectors, and resources, right?
Yes.
Yeah, elements is here, right side. Resources comes under the manager section, right?
Yes.
And do we need to drag and drop the connectors also, or when we drag the elements, that connector automatically comes?
That's a good question. So suppose I am dragging this element decision, okay, or I will use any other element which is already there. Let me check this one, or I'll just drag screen element here. I'll get the label done for this test. Now, if you see here, there is no plus sign which was there in your auto layout. What you need to do is you just need to click on any. Actually, this one is very big. I'll take the smaller one. This one will be quite easy for you to understand. So I will bring this decision element or create records element, give it a label as test. Just okay. Now if you see here, we can just here it will show you click, drag and drop to connect another element. So there is no connector in freeform. You just need to select from where you want to connect, like from here to here if you want. So first select here and do it like this. Okay. And if you want to remove this, so just click on this and there is a button available in your keyboard. Click on that delete button. Okay, that will be helpful. Now if you see here create records, again you can connect in using this in this way. But it's the same thing if you see in your auto layout. Okay, there is plus sign that helps you to, that this plus sign is like connector. So this is not plus sign, this is not available in auto layout, but it is sorry, it is available in auto layout, but it is not available in freeform. You have to drag and drop the connectors. Is it clear?
Okay, yes, sir. Thank
Oh, okay, so one more thing I wanted to show you. If you have any element, okay, that you have already created and you want to change or you want to what do you say, you want to know more about it. So what you can do, like suppose I'll show you in auto layout. What you can do is, so this is an assignment element. Okay, and if you want to see where I have used this assignment element, so what I'll do, I'll just click on the search bar, so it will show me where I have used. Okay, and I want to see more detail about it, so I will just click on this arrow and it will show me what is this type and what is its name. And if you want to make any changes, you can click on this edit and you can make the changes as and when needed. Okay, any other doubt?
I have one question.
Yeah, sure.
Is there any specific need that we have to define all the variables as parameters, assignment elements? Is it mandatory that we have to declare?
Yeah, obviously, like you have to declare. So assignment operator is like when you create any assignment operator in the variable. Suppose I am using this account name. Okay, and what value should be assigned to this? Okay, either you can select the variable or the elements, or the things that are already available in your previous elements, or you can give that name should be like Satya. Okay, so this is the way you do it using assignment. So assignment operator is just to assign a value to a variable or assign a value to some another variable that are available. That's the use of assignment or assignment element. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think yes.
Is there any limit on using number of elements in a single flow like that?
No, as of now there is no limit, but there is no limit. It all depends on your business logic. There won't be any limit to use the number of elements. I've created, I've not created, but I've seen, or I have worked on the flows where there are not less than 52 elements that I have seen. So there is no limit on having number of elements on your flow.
Okay.
But does it have any impact on the performance of the flow?
See, if you have unnecessary things in your flow, obviously it will affect your performance. Okay, now like I have created this particular small flow called create records, where this will create what you say the records. Okay, whenever an account is getting created, a contact will also get created. Okay, so I've created this flow, and inside this, if I at the same time, if I want case or if I want to delete some records, so what I will do, there are two ways to do it. Okay, just try to understand. If you don't understand, it's fine. We will see in the upcoming sessions. So if I want, instead of this create records, I want to delete the records. So there are two ways. Using get record, you will get the records which are already there, and then you will use that delete record element, and you will pass those records which you have collected in this get records to this delete record element, and then you will delete the records. The other work around is directly using delete records element. You can mention the collection that is there, and you can get it deleted, or you can specify the conditions from this particular object. These are the condition using which you delete my records. Okay, so there are different workarounds. If you have more number of elements to perform the small operation or the similar operation, obviously the performance will get affected. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, because you have given the flexibility, right? Whether you understand or don't understand, it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, like I know this is theoretical part, so there might be a lot of questions coming up in your mind. Unless we do the practical implementation, we don't understand. So that's the main agenda, was to make your basics clear before we move on to the practical implementation.
Yeah, and I have
Obviously,
one more last question.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Obviously, I'll take this example where I will show you how you can, increase the efficiency of your flow using the same example that I told you now. Yeah, you can go ahead with the next question.
Yeah. Do we have any maximum number of flows per object?
As of now, there is not there, but there will be.
Okay.
Okay, so any other questions, or shall I stop sharing?
This is David, and I just have a doubt. Like, can we send outbound messages using flow or something?
Yes. If you see here an action, there is something called. Where is that? There is an option to send outbound message. Yes, we can do it. Outbound.
Outbound is very
It's at bottom.
Yeah,
Chat
here it's
about-
there, and
Yes.
I've already created some outbound messages.
Yes.
Yes, we can do it.
Thanks, Aman.
Yeah, welcome. So if there is no other questions, we can move ahead with the most important part which you all are waiting for.
It is synchronous execution only, right? Or asynchronous is also possible.
Yes, asynchronous also possible.